and no aid and advice of the Council of Ministers of Delhi is needed for this. In a huge setback to the Aam Aadmi Party, the Supreme Court has held that the authority of the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi to nominate 10 persons with special knowledge of municipal administration to Delhi's MCD is a statutory duty attached to his office and is not bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. The judgment came on the plea of the Aam Aadmi Party-led government that had filed this petition in the Supreme Court challenging the Lieutenant Governor's move to nominate 10 aldermen in MCD without the advice of the government. After the Supreme Court heard this matter, last year the court had contended that the Lieutenant Governor appointing aldermen to the MCD could result in undermining the powers of an elected MCD. But 1 year later, the verdict that has been delivered by the Supreme Court is dramatically different, allowing the Lieutenant Governor to nominate aldermen to the MCD. Let's go right across to Sunil Prabhu joining us with the very latest from the Supreme Court. Sunil, what more can you tell us? What happened in court?
Three-judge bench, which led by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice Narasimha, read out the judgment from his courtroom. It was a unanimous judgment, and they have said that they are bound by the fact that Parliament has passed a law, and in that it has been very clearly stated that the Lieutenant Governor has a statutory power. And it's on that basis that they have said that it's well within the powers of the Lieutenant Governor to have gone ahead and nominated the aldermen without the aid and advice of the Delhi government. This is a huge setback for the Aam Aadmi Party. They had contested this decision of the Lieutenant Governor to nominate aldermen who they alleged were BJP people. And it's in that context when the MCD election took place, it was a close contest between with the Aam Aadmi Party winning. But once the Lieutenant Governor appointed 10 more nominated members, it changed the situation to a great extent. Where an oral observation was made no less than by the Chief Justice of India, who said that this could alter the democratically elected municipal corporation. Those oral observations, and after reserving the order for nearly 15 months, that is 1 year and 3 months, it has now finally passed a verdict where it has held that it's well within the powers. It's upheld the Lieutenant Governor's authority to nominate these aldermen or nominated members in the municipal corporation, and that the aid and advice of the Delhi government is not mandatory. This, of course, after 30 years, has been pointed out by the Delhi government's counsel, Mr. Singhvi, who said that this has been the practice for the last 30 years. But as the Lieutenant Governor's counsel, Sanjay Jain, explained, it does not mean that if the practice has happened, that it is mandatory. So this will, of course, be a huge setback for the Aam Aadmi Party and for the for the Lieutenant Governor, a lot of powers to appoint whoever he wishes in terms of the municipal corporation. Hopefully, the fracas between the Delhi government as well as the Aam Aadmi Party and the Lieutenant Governor will now come to a standstill, and hopefully they will be able to deliver justice to the people on the ground, ensure desilting takes place, no waterlogging, and bread and butter issues which are affecting the municipal corporations, from schools, from toilets to various other issues, will finally be given to the people of Delhi.
Thanks very much, Sunil, for joining us with that update. We'll keep a close watch on the political developments in the aftermath of that Supreme Court verdict. It is, like I said, a huge setback to the Aam Aadmi Party that had filed this petition over a year ago in the court, demanding that the Lieutenant Governor not be given these powers, but a key Supreme Court verdict there allowing the Lieutenant Governor to appoint aldermen, despite the fact that there is an elected MCD and an elected government both under the Aam Aadmi Party. Let's shift our focus now to the latest from the landslide-ravaged Wayanad in Kerala. Survivors at relief camps and hospitals continue to hunt for their missing ones, as families are in fact also participating in rescue and relief operations. Wayanad landslides have also triggered a massive political row between the state and the centre, with several lessons in environmental concerns now coming to the forefront. The massive landslides that rocked Kerala's Wayanad over a week ago have claimed over 370 lives, As rescue and relief operations continue, 220 bodies have been recovered as of now, while 180 people are still believed to be missing. This is what the Kerala government confirmed on Sunday. The mass burial process of the remains of the unidentified people killed in the Wayanad landslides was carried out by the district administration on Sunday as well. But like I said, a bitter political fight between the state and the centre continues. The Environment Minister of the country, Bhupender Yadav, has spoken with NDTV and said that the Kerala government is not cooperating when it comes to declaring ecologically sensitive zones in the area. Remember, a day after the Wayanad tragedy, the central government has issued its 6th notification to declare over 55,000 square kilometres of the Western Ghats as ecologically sensitive zones. This despite the fact that there was a proposal by the Madhav Gadgil report over 13 years ago that still remains a piece of paper.
Several homes and villages that have been inundated, several of those unidentified bodies as well. So there has been a mass burial that was organized yesterday, and it will continue to happen today as well. There were around 18 of the rescue personnel who had gone to retrieve one of the dead bodies that was found at the Sujipara river waterfalls there, and that is when they got stranded there. So a lot of difficulty in terms of the terrain as well when you talk about the Wayanad landscape there, and they will be airlifted today along with the dead body. So a lot of teams that are coming in together here as far as the rescue operation is concerned. Several of those families who are there at the relief camps are also trying to see if their near and dear ones have also survived the tragedy, or if their bodies could really be found. They have been running from different hospitals to relief camps to find out the data there. So it has been quite a Herculean task for the rescue personnel, for the officials who have been working on this, as well as for those who have survived the tragedy. Because when will life return to normalcy? Do they have a home to go back to? Do they have a family to go back to? There are absolutely no answers there. Quite a distressing situation as far as these landslides are concerned. There are also politics that are on, whether this a raging debate that is on with respect to whether this is a man-made disaster or whether this could have been averted, whether this is a natural phenomenon. A lot of discussion as well as political blame game that is on at that front. But in the meantime, priority definitely needs to be in terms of saving more lives here.
All right. Well, like I said, politics continues to peak, with the Environment Minister of the country now lashing out at the Kerala government for not cooperating. Listen into what he told my colleague Vesla Venugopal.
Wayanad in Kerala is reeling under unspeakable tragedy with over 300 people dead due to landslides. A lot of it is being blamed on reckless commercial activities. Joining me now is Environment Minister Bhupender Yadav. Thank you, Mr. Yadav, for speaking to NDTV. I remember you went to Wayanad when the man versus wild conflict was at its peak. How do you see something like this disaster that has happened in Wayanad, sir?
जो मेन रीज़न सामने निकल कर के आ रहा है वो इस चीज़ को दिखा रहा है कि वहाँ पर लगातार इलीगल ह्यूमन हैबिटेट को बसाने का काम किया, टूरिज़्म के नाम पर एनक्रोचमेंट करने का काम किया। इको सेंसिटिव जोन का जो प्लान होना था वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने प्रॉपर्ली तैयार नहीं किया, और ये सब चीज़ें न्यूज़पेपर रिपोर्ट के अंतर्गत लगातार आई है। वेस्टर्न घाट का जो पूरा सेंसिटिव एरिया, क्योंकि वहाँ पर रेनफॉल ज़्यादा है, भूमि का जो है वो शैलो लैंड है, और रिवर एरिया का जो विशेष रूप से ज़्यादा है, और बहुत बड़ी संख्या में पेड़ों के काटने का काम हुआ है। इसको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमारी मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा नोटिफिकेशन में निकाला गया था, और बाद में चूँकि ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का सब्जेक्ट है, लैंड की ऑनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट होती है, तो हमने कहा था कि आप इसमें लोगों के ग्रीवेंसेस को पूरा करके जो फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार है उनकी कमेटी को रिपोर्ट दीजिए। उसको भी देने का काम नहीं किया गया। मुझे लगता है कि चूँकि लैंड ओनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है फॉरेस्ट की, उनको इको सेंसिटिव जोन की जो गाइडलाइंस है उनका पालन करना चाहिए, और पालन करने के साथ ही साथ उनको इस बात का ध्यान देना चाहिए कि ये जो एरियाज़ हैं इसमें इलीगल जो बस्तियां बसाते हैं लोकल प्रोटेक्शन के दबाव में, और दूसरा जो इलीगल माइनिंग है ये बड़ा इशू है, इसको उनको एड्रेस करना चाहिए। इसको प्रॉपर एड्रेस करने पर ही हम नेचर को बचा सकेंगे। और दूसरा, देश भर में हम लोगों ने ट्री आउटसाइड फॉरेस्ट लगाने के लिए भी और डिग्रेडेड फॉरेस्ट के लिए भी एक पेड़ माँ के नाम अभियान चलाया है। मुझे लगता है इस तरह के अभियान हमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चलाने चाहिए और कम से कम उन एरियाज़ में जहाँ मिट्टी का कटाव पेड़ों के कटने के कारण होता है वहाँ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पेड़ लगाने चाहिए।
सर, ये ESZ नोटिफिकेशन जो है इसको एक्सपेडाइट करने के लिए सेंटर क्या करिए? बिकॉज वेस्टर्न घाट्स
देखो, इसके लिए जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को कराने के लिए एक चीज़ तो कही गई थी कि आप अपने गाँव को फाइनलाइजेशन करिए। बाद में वो लोग लगातार बदलते रहे, हमारे पास भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे। मैं वायनाड गया तो वहाँ के चर्च वगैरह के भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे। तो मैंने उन्हें कहा कि भाई आप स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के साथ इस पे एक सही तरीके से हमें रिपोर्ट भिजवाइए। फिर बाद में मैंने फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में कमेटी का भी गठन किया। वो भी लगातार 1 साल तक जा रहे हैं, पर जो रिपोर्ट्स स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को देने चाहिए, जो सबमिशन देने चाहिए, वो निश्चित रूप से वो देने में देरी कर रहे हैं। उनको अपना एक जिम्मेदारी पूरी करनी चाहिए। एक बार होने के बाद इसको हम फाइनलाइजेशन कर देंगे।
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That was Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav saying that the state government in Kerala has not been cooperating when it comes to giving submissions of reports. There is a central committee that's already in place and that is working on the ESZ notification. With camera person Sanjay, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.
No, the state government has already unanimously passed the resolution in the state legislative assembly that to extend the area or exempt the area, some area from the ecologically sensitive area. That is a unanimous resolution passed by the state legislative assembly. The government has to consider it. Now they have already declared 133 villages that was existence as per the Kasturi Rangan report. Our suggestion is, because the habitation of the people there and so many other issues were there, so it is after having an expert committee study, the state government has suggested to have an amendment to the ecologically sensitive area, so it has to be exempted some particular area. Unfortunately, the government is not hearing the mindset of the people or the will of the people of the state of Kerala. Instead of that, they are unilaterally declaring it as ecologically sensitive area. That is the reason by which we are opposing. We are not opposing, we are making a suggestion to the government to kindly examine it. See this, we can very well convince the government of India that it cannot be done because of so many not political reasons, social conditions of that particular area.
They are also saying that the state government is hesitating in submitting the reports as well that needs to be prepared for Western Ghats. They've been constantly saying that they should.
This is actually on the basis of the Madhav Gadkal report. The Kasturi Rangan committee has been appointed and they have submitted the report, on which government of Kerala has also conducted a study by appointing an expert committee. That expert committee found out some solutions that we have submitted to the government of India. Unfortunately, the government of India is not taking into consideration the views of the government of Kerala, the people of Kerala, considering huge density of population and so many institutions and all these in a particular area. Declaring it as an ecologically sensitive area means it is very difficult to convince them and it is very difficult to make it practical.
And you too can, in fact, donate and participate in the rehabilitation of Kerala. The details are on your screens. Let's shift our focus now from Kerala to Himachal Pradesh, where 13 people have now died and over 40 people are still missing in cloudbursts in Himachal Pradesh's Mandi, Kullu and Shimla districts that took place on the 31st of July. The Army, the NDRF, the SDRF, the ITBP, the CISF and the Himachal Pradesh Police have been deployed as a massive rescue operations are still underway. Locals have claimed that there is no electricity in several districts bordering Shimla and Kullu 5 days later. Rescuers have also intensified the search operation by deploying more machinery, sniffer dog squads, drones and other equipment. Over 30 people are still missing in the Samej village alone in the Rampur subdivision.
हिमाचल प्रदेश में 31 जुलाई को बादल फटने की घटना में अब तक जो है 13 डेड बॉडीज रिकवर हो चुकी है और 40 लोग अभी भी लापता है और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन आज 5वें दिन भी लगातार जारी है। एनडीआरएफ, आर्मी, आईटीबीपी, सीआईएसएफ, हिमाचल पुलिस, होम गार्ड्स लगातार जो है सर्च ऑपरेशन चला रहे हैं। पिछले कल की अगर मैं बात करूं तो पिछले कल 4 डेड बॉडीज़ रिकवर हुई है। 2 रामपुर के से 14 किलोमीटर दूर जो है घटनास्थल से 14 किलोमीटर दूर रिकवर हुई है और 2 जो है मंडी में राजबन में 2 डेड बॉडीज रिकवर हुई है और कुल मिलाकर अब मरने वालों की जो संख्या है वो 13 हो गई है। 13 शव अब तक जो है पिछले 5 दिन में रिकवर हुए हैं और 40 लोग अभी भी लापता है। कई सैकड़ों में की संख्या में सड़कें हिमाचल प्रदेश में बंद है। 200 के करीब बिजली के ट्रांसफार्मर जो है ठप पड़े हुए हैं और इसी तरह से जो है 90 के करीब जो है पानी की स्कीमें भी जो है ठप पड़ी हुई है। और अभी भी हिमाचल प्रदेश में अगर मैं मौसम की बात करूं तो मौसम जो है अगले 9 अगस्त तक यानी 5 दिन अभी भी जो है मौसम विभाग ने येलो अलर्ट जारी किया है।
Moving on to the other big political story that we're tracking, the conflict between the Congress-led Karnataka government and Governor Thawar Chand Gehlot has escalated amid the raging row over the alleged Mysuru Urban Development Authority scam, or the Buddha scam as it is being called. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has been under the fire from the BJP, which has accused his wife Parvati of illegally benefiting from the alleged scam. The BJP has alleged that there have been several irregularities in the compensatory sites allotted by the Development Authority to Siddaramaiah's wife at an upscale area in Mysuru with high property value in exchange for her land that it acquired to develop a residential layout. These are serious allegations against the Chief Minister and his family. Will the Karnataka Chief Minister be prosecuted? That's the big question. The Governor is likely to decide on the Chief Minister's prosecution request. Remember, Thawar Chand Gehlot, the Governor of Karnataka, is in the national capital. The Council of Ministers in Karnataka, of course, it's a Congress-led government, has advised the Governor against it.
This also comes in the wake of protests that are on, staged by the BJP, a protest march of sorts staged by the BJP from Bengaluru to Mysore. The BJP has also been planning on holding a rally of sorts in Mysore towards the weekend, and that is when the Congress is also trying to plan its counter strategy, and that is precisely why this meeting was held, which was chaired by both Mr. K.C. Venugopal as well as Randeep Surjewala, where they did hold a meeting with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, and they did speak about how this is BJP's ploy to destabilize the government as well as dislodge them. And they have also taken steps to ensure that each of those ministers will be heading back to their constituencies, trying to promote the achievements that have been gained by the Congress, and also talk about the guarantees that are being rolled out by the Congress government there. So this has been a counter strategy that has been put in place by the Congress there. But definitely, as far as the Karnataka's political scene is concerned, it's quite volatile right now.
All right, I believe we have breaking news. It is coming in the coaching center deaths. The Supreme Court has taken suo motu cognizance of the 3 UPSC aspirants who died in the basement flooding of the Rao Coaching Institute in the Rajendra Nagar area in the national capital. The Supreme Court has now issued a notice to both the centre and the Delhi government. The Supreme Court has questioned the governments on what safety norms have been prescribed after the deaths. The Supreme Court noted that coaching centres have become death chambers. So this, of course, is the latest information that is in fact coming in at the moment. The Supreme Court taking suo motu cognizance of the coaching centre deaths and issuing a notice there to the state and the central government. Notices have been issued to both the Delhi government as well as the central governments. The Supreme Court has issued a significant order regarding the creation of safety guidelines for coaching centres, remember, calling them death chambers. The Supreme Court, of course, remarked that coaching centres are playing with the lives of children. So very stern and scathing observations against coaching centres in the Supreme Court, stating that coaching centres have become death chambers. The Supreme Court, remember, took suo motu cognizance of the accidents that have taken place at the coaching centres following the death of 3 UPSC aspirants at the coaching centre in Rajendra Nagar in Delhi. The Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance of the case and issued notices to both state and central governments. The Supreme Court has also asked about the implementation of safety regulations and has asked the Attorney General to assist the court in this matter. The court mentioned that if coaching centres do not meet safety norms, they could be shifted to an online mode. But this decision is something the court said is not being made at the moment. But the court has essentially said that if guidelines are not followed as far as the infrastructure on the coaching centers is concerned, then they could in fact operate online. Let's go right across to NDTV. Sunil Prabhu joining us with the very latest. Sunil, what happened in court? We're given to understand that the Supreme Court in fact has taken suo motu cognizance of the coaching center deaths and issued a notice to both the center and the state.
Yeah, so basically what happened in the court is that Justice Surya Kant as well as Justice Ujjwal Bhuyan, who were hearing the matter in dismissing an appeal for a coaching center federation where they had, in the institutes of Mukherjee Nagar, where they had taken this decision. It's in that context that the Supreme Court has suo motu decided to issue notices to the Delhi government as well as the center to get a final verdict. Their viewpoint before deciding on this issue. As we were commenting earlier, there has been a death of UPSC aspirants. So basically, what guidelines are being done? What are the steps being made? It's in that context that the Supreme Court has issued notices to the Delhi government, to the Chief Secretary, to the central government about implementation of safety regulations in coaching centers, and has asked the Attorney General to assist the court in this matter. They have also mentioned that if they do not meet safety norms, then they should be shifted to online mode. But this decision is being made at the moment. So it's in this context that the Supreme Court, Justice Surya Kant as well as Justice Ujjwal Bhuyan, who were hearing this matter, decided in this regard.
All right. Well, scathing observations there being made by the Supreme Court calling coaching centers as death chambers. This is the court has taken suo motu cognizance. It remains to be seen whether pending a thorough investigation on the conditions in which these coaching centers are working, they are actually shifted to an online mode. If they are, it will indeed be a very significant move. Sunil, we'll keep coming back to you for more updates on these big developments. Let's shift our focus now to the other big political development. The government is set to bring in a bill in Parliament to amend the 1995 law governing the Waqf boards to ensure more accountability and transparency in their functioning and mandatory inclusion of women in these bodies. This is what sources have indicated. They claim that the move comes in the backdrop of demands from within the Muslim community. The bill to amend the Waqf Act 1995 will make it mandatory for these boards to register their properties with district collectors to ensure their actual valuation. There are 30 Waqf boards in the country right now. Stiff resistance coming in from opposition parties, which have decided that they will oppose any changes being made to the Waqf Act. So this is a bill that is in the works. Sources have indicated that the cabinet has cleared around 40 amendments to the Act, indicating that the bill will be brought into Parliament in this session itself. Sources have also indicated that at least 2 women will be included in the council and state board. So several changes being mulled. A bitter political fight will ensue. Let's listen in to the political reactions.
मुसलमान भाइयों को कैसे उनके अधिकारों को छीना जाए, उनकी अधिकार जो मिले हैं, जिन्हें आज़ादी के अधिकार हैं या उनके स्वतंत्र जो अधिकार हैं, उनके अपने धर्म को लेकर के अपनी कामकाज की व्यवस्था को बनाए रखने के लिए, और केवल वक्फ बोर्ड नहीं, हमारे मुख्यमंत्री देखिए कितने समझदार हैं सरकार के, उन्हें उर्दू में ये पता लगा कि नुज़ूल उर्दू शब्द है, उन्हें समझाते रहे अधिकारी कि नजूल का मतलब कुछ और है, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा नहीं, नजूल मतलब मुसलमानों की जमीन है ये.
Me is Pramod Tiwari, Rajya Sabha MP sir. The government has been planning to bring 40 amendments in the Waqf Code. How do you see that?
ये तो सिर्फ मीडिया में है. अगर उन्हें लाना है तो पहले जिस समुदाय के लिए ला रहे हैं उससे बात करें, फिर ये बात करें हम लोगों से, और हम लोगों से बात करने के पहले अपने सहयोगियों से पूछ लें जेडीयू का रुख क्या है, तेलुगु देशम का रुख क्या है, फिर बात.
All right, we'll continue to get you all the latest political reactions to that. But let's shift our focus now to the other big political development we're tracking. Ahead of assembly elections in Maharashtra that are slated to be held later this year, stakes are very high for the Ajit Pawar-led NCP, specifically as after Mawal, where the BJP and the NCP have locked horns. Indapur is another seat in Pune district where tension is brewing between alliance partners of the Mahayuti. This, remember, as the Mahayuti had a tough time of, agreeing on a seat-sharing deal even ahead of the Lok Sabha elections that led to a massive debacle for the Mahayuti and specifically for Ajit Pawar-led NCP. The NCP is also likely to face problems in the Madha seat of Solapur as party MLA Baban Shinde on Sunday met with the Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP, creating ripples in the political circles. NCP's Ajit Pawar faction is holding this crucial meeting today, which is going to be followed by a press conference as well. And this comes close on the heels of the Sharad Pawar meeting with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde on Saturday. And while, of course, he's the Chief Minister and it's a routine meeting, what has once again raised several eyebrows is the fact that Sharad Pawar and Eknath Shinde have met for a second time in the last 10 days. Remember, it was widely speculated that there will be some kind of political regrouping between Mahayuti, or rather factionalism emerging between Mahayuti leaders after the Lok Sabha debacle.
Devendra Fadnavis has met Amit Shah multiple times. Eknath Shinde also planning to meet Prime Minister Modi in the next couple of days. As far as MV is concerned, Congress very confident. It had been holding multiple meetings with the central leadership as well. In the presence of Rahul Gandhi, Congress will be launching its campaign for Maharashtra in a few days. There will be a joint meeting of the MVA as well. Congress also vying for close to 150-160 seats. So is Uddhav Sena. Uddhav Sena also could be in Delhi for the next few days, perhaps to meet some of the Congress central leadership. And as far as Sharad Pawar is concerned, he is vying for close to 80 seats is the information we are getting. Of course, seat sharing is in its initial primary stage. Too early to say what the seat sharing formula will be. But all of them, all these parties trying hard in the negotiation table, and it will happen in the days to come as well. A CM face not really decided by either MVA or Mahayuti. So multiple meet and greet happening, not just within the party, but also within the party lines, within the rival leaders as well. In fact, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde had met Sharad Pawar multiple times over reservation issue. So yes, we will see multiple discussions happening in the next few days and next few months as well. And all of them will assume significance considering assembly polls are around the corner and the political landscape is only undergoing a lot of change, considering the fact that there have been splits and divisions within the regional parties, and there could be, leaders perhaps switching sides ahead of assembly polls as well. So a lot of murmurs and rumors doing the rounds that there could be switchovers happening ahead of assembly polls.
All right, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, meanwhile, will visit flood-affected areas of Pune today, according to sources. He will also meet district administration and other agencies engaged in disaster relief. The city has been experiencing persistently heavy rainfall for the past few days. And Pune, of course, several parts of the city are inundated, as you can see there on your screens, given the excess water that has been released from the Khadakwasla Dam. The Indian Army, of course, has carried out rescue and relief work in the Ekta Nagar area on Sunday as well. Radhika joins us live with the very latest. Radhika, what is the situation on the ground as far as Pune is concerned, and the Chief Minister is likely to visit as well?
That's right. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde will be visiting flood-affected areas in Pune in just a bit. In fact, it had been raining heavily in Pune over the last several days, which saw a lot of flooding. In fact, there was a release of water from the dam. At least about 35,000 cusecs of water was released early this morning, which led to more flooding. However, the rain situation has subsided. It's not been raining today, although an orange alert has been issued for Pune. So rains expected in the next few hours as a result of discharge of water from nearby dams into the river. There had been a lot of flooding, especially in areas like Shivaji Nagar and Ekta Nagar. Of course, Indian Army were deployed. Officials from NDRF and SDRF also were deployed, carrying out rescue and relief operations over the last few days. In fact, a lot of water also gushed into many of the homes in Ekta Nagar and Shivaji Nagar. People have been rescued from there. People have been evacuated from many of these flood-affected regions over the last couple of days. At this point, of course, things are under control as a result of evacuation, but there could be more flooding in other areas if the rain situation intensifies. In Pune today, Eknath Shinde will be visiting all these affected regions and also be meeting emergency control officials as well as officials from the civic authorities and of course from the NDRF, SDRF and Army in order to understand the current situation and take stock
of the situation at this point, and also be visiting people who are in multiple relief camps in Pune as well.
Thanks very much, Radhika, for that update. As far as Pune is concerned, but do stay on with us. We also tracking this unfortunate story of civic apathy once again claiming another life. This is also a story from Maharashtra where a 4-year-old child died after falling into a manhole while playing in the Mukundnagar area of the Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra. There's dramatic and very disturbing CCTV footage that has surfaced of the incident. The child has been identified as Samar Sheikh. The incident is said to have happened at around 5 p.m. last evening, and it's alleged that the manhole lid was not properly installed. Radhika joins us again with the very latest on this. Radhika, another case of glaring civic apathy, killing an innocent 4-year-old child who just fell into an open manhole while playing. What really happened? We're given to understand that it was perhaps a lid that was not installed properly, and now an investigation is underway. What's the latest?
That's right. The lid of that manhole was not installed properly, as a result of which this 4-year-old child fell into it and died. Very, very unfortunate incident which unfolded in Ahmednagar last evening. This happened at about 5 to 6 p.m. The child was playing near his residence when he stepped onto that manhole, and the lid unfortunately was not properly installed, which is why he fell inside it. Very, very tragic, of course. Inquiry is on. Of course, this is civic apathy. However, nobody from the civic authority has been booked yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens, whether an official will be held accountable for this glaring civic apathy. At this point, of course, what we're given to understand is that this incident happened last evening. After the boy went missing, the boy was not found. The parents started searching for him, couldn't find him, which is when they came across the CCTV footage. And later, when he was taken out of the manhole, he was unfortunately dead by then. He was rushed to the hospital, but however, he couldn't be revived. So yes, at this point, of course, police has taken cognizance of this. We've seen manhole related deaths in the past as well. In Mumbai itself, we saw over the last few years the number of people dying due to the lid of the manhole not being installed properly, weak lids leading to it, especially during monsoons. And Bombay High Court had also taken cognizance of this, pulled up civic authorities, asked them to ensure that all the manholes across the state are repaired properly. However, these incidents continue to happen. Unfortunately, now remains to be seen what kind of investigations will happen and whether any officials from the civic department will be held accountable.
Thanks, Radhika. We will, of course, continue to track the latest as far as the investigation is concerned, and will heads roll, and will there be accountability that will be fixed for yet another innocent life lost to killer civic apathy. With that, we're going to slip into a very short break. We'll bring you more news on the other side.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mugdha Mishra. supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily ride. We cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here. The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise. Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India, beating all its competition.
Welcome back. Indian markets have experienced one of the worst falls today following the global bloodbath, with both the Sensex and the Nifty registering high losses. The global sell-off has sparked the Nifty and Sensex to decline almost 1.5%. Markets have plunged on global cues, triggering a massive sell-off. The Sensex trading below 80,000. The rupee is also weakened to an all-time low, but India is doing relatively better than other Asian markets. Japan's stocks have plunged as much as 7%. My colleague Sakshi Bajaj with the details.
Weak US economic cues and the reaction by US investors fueling a global market sell-off. Now, what really was this weak economic data in particular? Well, worse than expected jobs data from the US really trickled in these fears, recession fears resurfacing, and US investors reacting to that data on Friday. We saw the sharp sell-off on Wall Street, followed by Asian markets plunging as much as 5% on Friday and extending that decline to as much as 7% today. We've seen India's Nifty and Sensex and benchmark indices at large also extend the declines witnessed on Friday. Both benchmark indices sliding over 2%. Broader markets also trading sharply lower. Investor wealth significantly eroded. Now, what happens when a sell-off like this happens? We also see the impact on currencies. Remember, the rupee also opened at its record low, weakened to a record low after US recession fears resurfaced. Now, asset classes like gold, also remember, gold is considered a safe haven in times of crisis, in uncertain times, and therefore we see an uptick in gold prices. So, of course, an impact on all asset classes as we see. We've seen equity markets plunge. We've seen currency also factoring in those recession concerns, and precious metals rise in trade in times of uncertainty.
All right, we will of course continue to get you the latest from the markets. Let's now shift our focus to the latest that we're tracking as far as the unrest in Bangladesh is concerned. Over 100 people have died in fresh clashes in Bangladesh as protesters continue to demand the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The anti-government protesters have clashed with ruling party supporters yesterday again in fresh clashes that have broken out. The clashes broke out when protesters attending a non-cooperation program to demand the government's resignation faced opposition from government supporters. The Bangladesh Home Ministry has decided to impose an indefinite countrywide curfew amid fierce clashes, and mobile internet was tightly restricted countrywide. Let's listen in to the latest. My colleague Ghazali brings us the latest.
Despite a lull in the agitation in the last few days, it has reignited, and now the protesters of the students group and primarily Student Against Discrimination is one group which is spearheading this protest. They are now demanding Sheikh Hasina to resign. And what we are being told from the local media there in Bangladesh is that the Awami League held a meeting yesterday, and now they have decided that they will use force to quell this protest and remove the protesters from the streets who are demanding the resignation of Sheikh Hasina. As far as India is concerned, it has interests in Bangladesh. It's an immediate neighbor, and India has also issued an advisory for its nationals who are staying in Dhaka to be in touch with the embassy and also keep an eye on the latest developments. As Also, they have also advised nationals not to go into Bangladesh. So that is something which is developing now, and Indian agencies are also keeping an eye on the development there, because as per reports, there are many anti-India elements also who are involved in this protest. Jamaat Islami, one of the groups which has been banned by the Bangladesh government over this ongoing protest, is also involved in the protest, and that is why it's a big concern for India as well.
All right, let's shift our focus now to the other big international story. UK Prime Minister has warned far-right protesters on Sunday that they would quote-unquote regret participating in England's worst rioting in the last 13 years. Mr. Starmer's statement came as more violence broke out across the country in the wake of stabbing rampage at a dance class that left 3 girls dead and many more wounded.
One month into office as Prime Minister of Britain, Sir Keir Starmer's biggest challenge is currently underway. Britain has not seen rioting and social unrest of this kind after riots broke out in multiple cities by far-right protesters and anti-immigrant protesters. Cities such as Manchester, Hull, Belfast, Bristol, Stoke-on-Trent, even parts of London has seen sporadic, spontaneous protesters disrupting violence, breaking public property, attacking the police. 90 arrests have been made thus far, and on this weekend, if you are driving across cities such as London and other main cities in the UK, there are the greater chances that you may be giving way to fastly moving, roving policemen in their cars with sirens burning. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has said that these protests are sowing hate. He and the Home Secretary and the entire Labour government that has been newly elected in Britain has offered full support to the police teams to arrest, contain any sort of social unrest that's happening across the cities over the next few days.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest, it is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
Occupants, mainly tourists, at a South Yorkshire hotel stared in fear and worry from the top floor as rioters attacked that particular hotel in South Yorkshire in England, otherwise a sleepy town and a calm town and a tourist attraction. Through bricks, broke glass windows, even managed to have a fire break out in the hotel. Arrests have been made, and the protests in that location have been contained.
Well, it's very shocking to see this sort of racial violence motivated by far-right wing Elizabeth extremists. I didn't see anything was bad for many years, and it needs to be dealt with robustly.
A rapid response process has been initiated whereby emergency security will be provided across mosques in Britain after racist and anti-immigration protests have worried and disturbed Britain after many, many years. Radhika Iyer in London, NDTV.
Moving on, the foreign ministers of major G7 democracies have called on all parties involved in the current conflict in the Middle East to avoid actions that could lead to a potential escalation. The G7 ministers expressed strong concerns about the recent events that could lead to a wider regional spread if the crisis, starting with Lebanon, they said in a statement. Tensions heightened on Sunday in the Middle East, with the US moving warships to the region to defend Israel if Iran attacks, while several Western governments urgently told citizens to leave Lebanon as Hezbollah launched a barrage of strikes targeting Israel. Well, moving on to more news that we're tracking from across the country. It's been 5 years today since the abrogation of Article 370, which took away Jammu and Kashmir's special status and statehood. The state was split into 2 union territories following its revocation. The Jammu and Kashmir unit of the BJP will hold a rally to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Article 370 abrogation. Security has been beefed up in the region as a precautionary measure to maintain law and order during the event. Opposition parties, including the Congress and the PDP, have criticized the BJP for organizing a ceremony to commemorate the day.
I'm standing right now at Lal Chowk, and the Lal Chowk tells the story that it's open, traffic is normal, everything appears to be normal. But scratch the surface a bit, you would see the situation is not really black and white. Abrogation of Article 370 has disrupted the status quo. It has changed Jammu and Kashmir forever, divided into 2 union territories. Since then, there have been, differing views and the narrative. The government is saying it has transformed Jammu and Kashmir. It is changing things, giving employment, investment, development, and peace. A while back, in the morning, there was rain for half an hour or so. And it really, most of the roads in Srinagar, and they were inundated, there was water logging. So the least people could have expected the best drainage system. Thankfully, sun come back, it is sunny again, and weather has improved, so traffic can move normally across Srinagar. But the larger point is, while BJP is today celebrating abrogation of Article 370, opposition parties are saying it is a dark day. Congress has said it is a dark day for Jammu and Kashmir because its statehood was smashed. So other regional parties as well. Ladakh, we have seen this uneasy calm in Ladakh for last several years. There have been, 4 years at least, there have been protests, hunger strikes demanding statehood and, 6th schedule, which gives them almost the same powers which they use, rights which they used to enjoy under Article 370 and 35A. In the valley, there's tourism boom. But in Jammu, it is terrorism. It is infiltration. And while the valley has been, Sri Kashmir Valley, counting tourists, and in Jammu, it is for last more than 1 year, at least for last 3 years, we see counting infiltration attempts and see. Here at Lal Chowk, it is the normal day, like any other day. The days of shutdown are gone. There's no stone pelting. But we see militancy has spread to the areas, particularly in Jammu region, which were completely free from militancy. So if you talk to the opposition, they will tell you how things have gone horribly wrong. And more importantly, Jammu and Kashmir is without elected representative. There's no democracy, has been in a suspended animation for last now more than 6 years. Last assembly elections were held in 2014. And now Election Commission is visiting Jammu and Kashmir this week. The ECI panel, headed by Chief Election Commissioner, are visiting from Thursday for 3 days to review the preparation for the assembly elections with a long ordeal. So people are hoping that elections are held. BJP has formed its election manifesto committee. So other parties, National Conference, they are already formed their election manifesto committee. They are seeking suggestions from the people. But this day has been, disruption in the status quo in many ways. There have been, improvements in certain areas, but there have been really horrible things that happen, particularly when it comes to the militancy front, that to the Jammu region, which is facing the brunt of worst type of militancy. So here at Lal Chowk, everything appears normal, but this is not the total picture of Jammu and Kashmir for the last 5 months.
Let's shift our focus to the latest from Kerala now. Survivors at relief camps and hospitals continue to hunt for family members as rescue operations continue in full force a week after the tragedy hit Wayanad. Landslides have triggered now a massive political row between the state and the centre, with several lessons and environmental concerns that were ignored. The massive landslides that rocked Kerala's Wayanad have claimed over 300 lives. In fact, almost 370 people have died in these landslides that took place on the 30th of July. Rescue teams in Wayanad have stepped up search and rescue operations by deploying advanced radars, drones and heavy machinery to locate survivors. My colleague Pratibha Raman has been reporting from Ground Zero. Meanwhile, a bitter face-off continues here with the state and the centre at loggerheads over ecologically sensitive zones in Kerala. The Union Environment Minister has hit out at the Kerala government for ignoring notifications on ecologically sensitive zones. This as the Union government has issued a 6th notification to bring 55,000 square kilometers of the Western Ghats under the ecologically sensitive zone category. This has been met with stiff resistance, not just from the Kerala government, but also from the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Goa and Maharashtra governments. Minister from Kerala, the MP from Kerala, though, continues to say that the centre has refused to listen. Let's listen in to both sides.
Wayanad in Kerala is reeling under unspeakable tragedy with over 300 people dead due to landslides. A lot of it is being blamed on reckless commercial activities. Joining me now is Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav. Thank you, Mr. Yadav, for speaking to NDTV. I remember you went to Wayanad when the man versus wild conflict was at its peak. How do you see something like this disaster that has happened in Wayanad, sir?
जो मेन रीज़न सामने निकल कर के आ रहा है वो इस चीज़ को दिखा रहा है कि वहाँ पर लगातार इलीगल ह्यूमन हैबिटेट को बसाने का काम किया, टूरिज़्म के नाम पर एनक्रोचमेंट करने का काम किया। इको सेंसिटिव जोन का जो प्लान होना था वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने प्रॉपर्ली तैयार नहीं किया और ये सब चीज़ें न्यूज़पेपर रिपोर्ट के अंतर्गत लगातार आई है। वेस्टर्न घाट का जो पूरा सेंसिटिव एरिया, क्योंकि वहाँ पे रेनफॉल ज़्यादा है, भूमि का जो है वो शैलो लैंड है और रिवर एरिया का जो विशेष रूप से ज़्यादा है और बहुत बड़ी संख्या में पेड़ों के काटने का काम हुआ है। इसको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमारी मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा नोटिफिकेशन में निकाला गया था और बाद में चूँकि ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का सब्जेक्ट है, लैंड की ऑनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट होती है, तो हमने कहा था कि आप इसमें लोगों के ग्रीवेंसेस को पूरा करके जो फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार है उनकी कमेटी को रिपोर्ट दीजिए। उसको भी देने का काम नहीं किया गया। मुझे लगता है कि चूँकि लैंड ऑनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है फॉरेस्ट की, उनको इको सेंसिटिव जोन की जो गाइडलाइंस है उनका पालन करना चाहिए और पालन करने के साथ ही साथ उनको इस बात का ध्यान देना चाहिए कि ये जो एरियाज़ हैं इसमें इलीगल जो बस्तियां बसाते हैं लोकल प्रोटेक्शन के दबाव में, और दूसरा जो इलीगल माइनिंग है ये बड़ा इशू है, इसको उनको एड्रेस करना चाहिए। इसको प्रॉपर एड्रेस करने पर ही हम नेचर को बचा सकेंगे। और दूसरा, देश भर में हम लोगों ने ट्री आउटसाइड फॉरेस्ट लगाने के लिए भी और डिग्रेडेड फॉरेस्ट के लिए भी एक पेड़ माँ के नाम अभियान चलाया है। मुझे लगता है इस तरह के अभियान हमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चलाने चाहिए और कम से कम उन एरियाज़ में जहाँ मिट्टी का कटाव पेड़ों के कटने के कारण होता है वहाँ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पेड़ लगाने चाहिए।
सर, ये ESZ नोटिफिकेशन जो है इसको एक्सपेडाइट करने के लिए सेंटर क्या करिए? बिकॉज वेस्टर्न घाट्स
देखो, इसके लिए जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को कराने के लिए एक चीज़ तो कही गई थी कि आप अपने गाँव को फाइनलाइजेशन करिए। बाद में वो लोग लगातार बदलते रहे, हमारे पास भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे। मैं वायनाड गया तो वहाँ के चर्च वगैरह के भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे, तो मैंने उन्हें कहा कि भाई आप स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के साथ इस पे एक सही तरीके से हमें रिपोर्ट भिजवाइए। फिर बाद में मैंने फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में कमेटी का भी गठन किया। वो भी लगातार 1 साल तक जा रहे हैं, पर जो रिपोर्ट्स स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को देने चाहिए, जो सबमिशन देने चाहिए, वो निश्चित रूप से वो देने में देरी कर रहे हैं। उनको अपना एक जिम्मेदारी पूरी करनी चाहिए। एक बार होने के बाद इसको हम फाइनलाइजेशन कर देंगे।
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That was Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav saying that the state government in Kerala has not been cooperating when it comes to giving submissions of reports. There is a central committee that's already in place and that is working on the ESZ notification. With camera person Sanjay, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.
No, the state government has already unanimously passed the resolution in the state legislative assembly that to extend the area or exempt the area, some area from the ecologically sensitive area. That is a unanimous resolution passed by the state legislative assembly. The government has to consider it. Now they have already declared 133 villages that was existence as per the Kasturi Rangan report. Our suggestion is, because the habitation of the people there and so many other issues were there, so it is after having an expert committee study, the state government has suggested to have an amendment to the ecologically sensitive area, so it has to be exempted some particular area. Unfortunately, the government is not hearing the mindset of the people or the will of the people of the state of Kerala. Instead of that, They are unilaterally declaring it as ecologically sensitive area. That is the reason by which we are opposing. We are not opposing. We are making a suggestion to the government to kindly examine it. See this. We can very well convince the government of India that it cannot be done because of so many not political reasons, social conditions of that particular area.
They are also saying that the state government is hesitating in submitting the reports as well that needs to be prepared for Western Ghats. They've been constantly saying that they should.
This is actually on the basis of the Madhav Gadkal report. The Kasturi Rangan committee has been appointed and they have submitted the report on which government of Kerala has also conducted a study by appointing an expert committee. That expert committee found out some solutions that we have submitted to the government of India. Unfortunately, the government of India is not taking into consideration the views of the government of Kerala, the people of Kerala, considering the huge density of population and so many institutions and all these in a particular area. Declaring it as an ecologically sensitive area means it is very difficult to convince them and it is very difficult to make it practical.
माता भूमि पुत्रो अहम. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
After a great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत ही performance आई सारे दी थे बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly.
And it's the top court that is focusing on the Delhi coaching centre deaths, and the Supreme Court has taken suo motu cognizance and has issued a notice to government here in Delhi, accusing this is as far as the court has slammed the authorities for failing to regulate coaching centres, accusing them of playing with the lives of children. Coaching centres have become death chambers, is what the court has said. Civic apathy kills again in Maharashtra. A child falls into an open manhole and dies. A 4-year-old has died in Ahmednagar district. The manhole lid allegedly was not installed properly.
setback for the Aam Aadmi Party in the Supreme Court. With the Supreme Court, they're saying that the LG can appoint aldermen. This is the Supreme Court saying that the LG does not need Delhi government's advice. Over 370 people have died in the landslides in Wayanad, and the tragedy in which the Union Environment Minister is blaming the government of Kerala. It's the centre versus Kerala's government over ecologically sensitive zones. Bhupendra Yadav has gone on to say that Kerala government is not cooperating with the centre, and the Kollam MP has spoken to NDTV saying that the centre is not ready to hear what the Kerala's government has to say. And it's the 5th anniversary as far as the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. Jammu and Kashmir is a torchbearer of India's growth story, is what the government is saying. However, the opposition and the Muslim bodies are in fact of a different view. However, the focus is on the state polls, and the Election Commission will be visiting next week. And global cues trigger massive market sell-off. Asian markets plunge. Nifty and Sensex slide over 2.5%. The rupee weakens to a record low. Very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vadva. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including the Supreme Court today issued notice to the centre and the government of Delhi over the death of 3 students. They drowned in a flooded basement of an IAS coaching centre as far as the national capital's Rajendra Nagar area is concerned, and that took place due to heavy rainfall last month. Now, during the hearing, the court has slammed authorities for failing to regulate coaching centres, accusing them of playing with the lives of children. Coaching centres have become death chambers, is what the court said. My colleague Sunil Prabhu joining us. Sunil, very strong words there in the Supreme Court of coaching centres that have now become death chambers. Those are the exact words that the Supreme Court used this morning.
So today, as the Supreme Court heard this very important matter of a coaching federation which had wanted, there was a levy relating to Mukherjee Nagar where the payment had to be done and they wanted some relief. The Supreme Court said no, and in fact suo moto decided to issue notices not only to the Delhi government through the Chief Secretary but also to the centre on this very, very important issue. They said the young people, as you pointed out, have lost their lives. There has to be compliance in terms of coaching institutes for the safety of the students, otherwise they should hold it online. And they've in fact issued an order saying that they must comply with the master plan of 2021 of Delhi, all coaching centres. And it's in this context that the Supreme Court came down heavily and wanted the centre as well as the state to give their response on this very important issue so as to ensure that in future young students, young aspirants do not face the same trauma as that unfortunate incident took place in Rajendra Nagar.
Sunil, stay with us for our next story as well, and that is in a big setback for the Aam Aadmi Party. The Supreme Court today ruled that the LG can nominate aldermen in the Municipal Corporation of Delhi without the aid or the advice of the government of Delhi. Let's just listen in to what the BJP had to say.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो निर्णय आया है उसने इस बात को साफ कर दिया है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने कानून के अंतर्गत ही एल्डरमैन का मनोनयन किया था, जिस पर जैसे आम आदमी पार्टी की आदत है हर मसले पर उन्हें आरोप लगाने हैं, दूसरों को कटघरे में खड़ा करना है, तो उनकी उस राजनीति को एक सिरे से नकार दिया गया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इस निर्णय द्वारा। और अब स्टैंडिंग कमेटी का तुरंत गठन होना चाहिए जिससे दिल्ली की जो समस्याएं हैं उनके बारे में गंभीरता से काम हो सके।
And we have Sunil back with us. Sunil, this comes at a time when, we've heard the Aam Aadmi Party complain for a very, very long time that the centre maintains a, hold as far as the national capital is concerned through the LG, and the elected city government does not have powers to execute its duties properly.
That's right. Now the Supreme Court, the final arbiter of justice, has ruled that given the fact that in 1993 the Act was amended, which gave the Lieutenant Governor and Delhi that special status. So the Lieutenant Governor had that statutory power, and it was well within his rights to appoint the aldermen or nominated members in the MCD Council. This, of course, after the Supreme Court had reserved its verdict for 15 months, an oral observation no less than the Chief Justice of India saying that by appointing these nominated members, it could alter the democratically elected municipal corporation. But finally, they have ruled in favor of the Lieutenant Governor and made it clear that it's well within his powers to do so. The real issue now, of course, is about governance in Delhi. The fact that hopefully the Municipal Council of Delhi, MCD, will have standing committees, will be able to deliver on terms of issues that are affecting the common man, be it in schools, be it in toilets, be it in cleaning roads and desilting of drains, as well as ensuring that there is no flooding on the streets of Delhi.
Right. Thank you so much, Sunil, for getting us all those details. In other news, a 4-year-old child has died after falling into a manhole while playing just outside his residence. The reason for his death is allegedly due to the manhole lid that wasn't installed properly. And to get more on this, we have Radhika joining us. Radhika, why are no lessons learned? Something as basic as a manhole lid that wasn't installed properly has resulted in the death of this poor little boy who was only 4 years old. Certainly, very, very unfortunate incident that unfolded in Ahmednagar area. This happened last evening about 5 o'clock is when this child who was playing outside his residence fell into this manhole, and the protective grill of that manhole was obviously loose, which is why the boy fell inside it. And later, when his parents started searching for him, is when they realized that he had fallen into the manhole. When they saw it through the CCTV footage, by the time he was taken out, he was unfortunately dead. Very tragic incident. Of course, I did speak to SP of Ahmednagar. He, of course, refuses to call it a manhole, although it looks like one. He says that this is the lid of a water tank which was outside this residence. And when we spoke to him and asked who will be held accountable, because looks like civic authorities should have been responsible to ensure that a protective grill was intact on this manhole, he said that private persons who were responsible for the premises as well as this private water tank will be held responsible, and an FIR will be registered against a few private people, is what he said. So at this point, there could be an FIR registered of negligence, but against whom? Will any officials from civic authority be held responsible, any government official be held responsible, or just private people? That remains to be seen. But at this point, of course, a very, very unfortunate incident, and manhole related deaths have happened multiple times, especially in a city like Mumbai over the last several years, especially during monsoons. And Bombay High Court had also wrapped civic authorities over it, calling for action as far as the protective grill of manholes are concerned, how they must be kept intact, and there has to be steps taken to ensure that there are no open manholes, especially during monsoon season. But of course, it has fallen into deaf ear, which is why we're seeing all these incidents happening, over and over again. This time, a 4-year-old child losing his life as a result of the manhole cover not being intact and him falling inside it. Right, Radhika, thank you so much for getting us those details. Very, very tragic story there coming out of Maharashtra, where a 4-year-old has died due to, the manhole, the lid that wasn't installed properly. Switching tracks now to Wayanad, where over 370 people have died due to landslides that took place 7 days ago. Now, those landslides that triggered villages have been washed away, roads have been washed away. So far, the rescue and relief operations are continuing because only 220 bodies have been recovered as of now, while more than 180 bodies are still believed to be missing. As far as the area is concerned, there was a mass burial process of the remains of the unidentified people killed in the Wayanad landslide that was carried out by the district administration on Sunday.
several homes and villages that have been inundated, several of those unidentified bodies as well. So there has been a mass burial that was organized yesterday, and it will continue to happen today as well. There were around 18 of the rescue personnel who had gone to retrieve one of the dead bodies that was found at the Sujipara river waterfalls there, and that is when they got stranded there. So a lot of difficulty in terms of the terrain as well when you talk about the Wayanad landscape there, and they will be airlifted today along with the dead body. So a lot of teams that are coming in together here as far as the rescue operation is concerned. Several of those families who are there at the relief camps are also trying to see if their near and dear ones have also survived the tragedy, or if their bodies could really be found. They have been running from different hospitals to relief camps to find out the data there. So it has been quite a Herculean task for the rescue personnel, for the officials who have been working on this, as well as for those who have survived the tragedy, because when will life return to normalcy? Do they have a home to go back to? Do they have a family to go back to? There are absolutely no answers there. Quite a distressing situation as far as these landslides are concerned. There are also politics that are on, whether this a raging debate that is on with respect to whether this is a man-made disaster or whether this could have been averted, whether this is a natural phenomenon. A lot of discussion as well as political blame game that is on at that front. But in the meantime, priority definitely needs to be in terms of saving more lives here.
Right, and of course, it is politics peaking there over the issue as far as Wayanad is concerned. It's the centre versus the government in Kerala. Will the blame game over ecologically sensitive zones? The Union Environment Minister has spoken to NDTV. He's gone on to blame the government in Kerala. He said that the disaster took place because the state allowed illegal activities. He's also gone on to say that the government in Kerala is not cooperating with the centre. So it is now a war of words there, but it is Kolam's MP that's also spoken to NDTV, saying that the centre is not ready to hear what the government of Kerala has to say.
Wayanad in Kerala is reeling under unspeakable tragedy with over 300 people dead due to landslides. A lot of it is being blamed on reckless commercial activities. Joining me now is Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav. Thank you, Mr. Yadav, for speaking to NDTV. I remember you went to Wayanad when the man versus wild conflict was at its peak. How do you see something like this disaster that has happened in Wayanad, sir?
जो मेन रीज़न सामने निकल कर के आ रहा है वो इस चीज़ को दिखा रहा है कि वहाँ पर लगातार इलीगल ह्यूमन हैबिटेट को बसाने का काम किया, टूरिज़्म के नाम पर एनक्रोचमेंट करने का काम किया। इको सेंसिटिव जोन का जो प्लान होना था वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने प्रॉपर्ली तैयार नहीं किया, और ये सब चीज़ें न्यूज़पेपर रिपोर्ट के अंतर्गत लगातार आई है। वेस्टर्न घाट का जो पूरा सेंसिटिव एरिया, क्योंकि वहाँ पे रेनफॉल ज़्यादा है, भूमि का जो है वो शैलो लैंड है, और रिवर एरिया का जो विशेष रूप से ज़्यादा है, और बहुत बड़ी संख्या में पेड़ों के काटने का काम हुआ है। इसको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमारी मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा नोटिफिकेशन में निकाला गया था, और बाद में चूँकि ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का सब्जेक्ट है, लैंड की ऑनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट होती है, तो हमने कहा था कि आप इसमें लोगों के ग्रीवेंसेस को पूरा करके जो फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार है उनकी कमेटी को रिपोर्ट दीजिए। उसको भी देने का काम नहीं किया गया। मुझे लगता है कि चूँकि लैंड ऑनर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है फॉरेस्ट की, उनको इको सेंसिटिव जोन की जो गाइडलाइंस है उनका पालन करना चाहिए, और पालन करने के साथ ही साथ उनको इस बात का ध्यान देना चाहिए कि ये जो एरियाज़ हैं इसमें इलीगल जो बस्तियां बसाते हैं लोकल प्रोटेक्शन के दबाव में, और दूसरा जो इलीगल माइनिंग है ये बड़ा इशू है, इसको उनको एड्रेस करना चाहिए। इसको प्रॉपर एड्रेस करने पर ही हम नेचर को बचा सकेंगे। और दूसरा, देश भर में हम लोगों ने ट्री आउटसाइड फॉरेस्ट लगाने के लिए भी और डिग्रेडेड फॉरेस्ट के लिए भी एक पेड़ माँ के नाम अभियान चलाया है। मुझे लगता है इस तरह के अभियान हमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चलाने चाहिए, और कम से कम उन एरियाज़ में जहाँ मिट्टी का कटाव पेड़ों के कटने के कारण होता है वहाँ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पेड़ लगाने चाहिए।
सर, ये ESZ नोटिफिकेशन जो है इसको एक्सपेडाइट करने के लिए सेंटर क्या करिए? बिकॉज वेस्टर्न घाट्स
देखो, इसके लिए जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को कराने के लिए एक चीज़ तो कही गई थी कि आप अपने गाँव को फाइनलाइजेशन करिए। बाद में वो लोग लगातार बदलते रहे, हमारे पास भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे। मैं वायनाड गया तो वहाँ के चर्च वगैरह के भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आते रहे, तो मैंने उन्हें कहा कि भाई आप स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के साथ इस पे एक सही तरीके से हमें रिपोर्ट भिजवाइए। फिर बाद में मैंने फॉर्मर डीजी संजय कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में कमेटी का भी गठन किया, वो भी लगातार 1 साल तक जा रहे हैं। पर जो रिपोर्ट्स स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को देने चाहिए, जो सबमिशन देने चाहिए, वो निश्चित रूप से वो देने में देरी कर रहे हैं। उनको अपना एक जिम्मेदारी पूरी करनी चाहिए। एक बार होने के बाद इसको हम फाइनलाइजेशन कर देंगे।
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That was Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav saying that the state government in Kerala has not been cooperating when it comes to giving submissions of reports. There is a central committee that's already in place and that is working on the ESZ notification. With camera person Sanjay, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.
No, the state government has already unanimously passed the resolution in the state legislative assembly that to extend the area or exempt the area, some area from the ecologically sensitive area. That is a unanimous resolution passed by the state legislative assembly. The government has to consider it. Now they have already declared 133 villages that was existence as per the Kasturi Rangan report. Our suggestion is because the habitation of the people there and so many other issues were there. So it is after having an expert committee study, the state government has suggested to have an amendment to the ecologically sensitive area. So it has to be exempted some particular area. Unfortunately, the government is not hearing the mindset of the people or the will of the people of the state of Kerala. Instead of that, they are unilaterally declaring it as ecologically sensitive area. That is the reason by which we are opposing. We are not opposing. We are making a suggestion to the government to kindly examine it. See this. We can very well convince the government of India that it cannot be done because of so many not political reasons, social conditions of the particular area.
They are also saying that the state government is hesitating in submitting the reports as well that needs to be prepared for Western Ghats. They've been constantly saying that they should.
This is actually on the basis of the Madhav Gadkal report. The Kasturi Rangan committee has been appointed and they have submitted the report on which government of Kerala has also conducted a study by appointing an expert committee. That expert committee found out some solutions that we have submitted to the government of India. Unfortunately, the government of India is not taking into consideration the views of the government of Kerala, the people of Kerala, considering the huge density of population and so many institutions and all these in a particular area. Declaring it as an ecologically sensitive area means it is very difficult to convince them and it is very difficult to make it practical.
And this is what you can do in order to save those who've lost everything in the landslides in Wayanad in Kerala. You can donate for Kerala in this initiative that's been launched by NDTV. It's called Care for Kerala. And this is your time to do your bit to help those who need rehabilitation. Switching tracks to Himachal Pradesh, and 13 people have now died and over 40 people are still missing in cloudbursts in Himachal Pradesh's Mandi, Kullu and Shimla districts that took place on the 31st of last month. The Army, the NDRF, the SDRF, ITBP, CISF and the police in Himachal Pradesh have been deployed. We also have this is sniffer dogs and JCB machines that have been deployed in order to find those who are missing. Now, drones are also being used as rescue operations are still underway. Locals have claimed that there's no electricity in the area and many roads have been closed down, and this includes at least 30 roads in Kullu itself.
हिमाचल प्रदेश में 31 जुलाई को बादल फटने की घटना में अब तक जो है 13 डेड बॉडीज रिकवर हो चुकी है और 40 लोग अभी भी लापता है और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन आज 5वें दिन भी लगातार जारी है। एनडीआरएफ, आर्मी, आईटीबीपी, सीआईएसएफ, हिमाचल पुलिस, होम गार्ड्स लगातार जो है सर्च ऑपरेशन चला रहे हैं। पिछले कल की अगर मैं बात करूं तो पिछले कल 4 डेड बॉडीज रिकवर हुई है। 2 रामपुर के से 14 किलोमीटर दूर जो है घटनास्थल से 14 किलोमीटर दूर रिकवर हुई है और 2 जो है मंडी में राजबन में 2 डेड बॉडीज रिकवर हुई है और कुल मिलाकर अब मरने वालों की जो संख्या है वो 13 हो गई है। 13 शव अब तक जो है पिछले 5 दिन में रिकवर हुए हैं और 40 लोग अभी भी लापता है। कई सैकड़ों में की संख्या में सड़कें हिमाचल प्रदेश में बंद है। 200 के करीब बिजली के ट्रांसफार्मर जो है ठप पड़े हुए हैं और इसी तरह से जो है 90 के करीब जो है पानी की स्कीमें भी जो है ठप पड़ी हुई है। और अभी भी हिमाचल प्रदेश में अगर मैं मौसम की बात करूं तो मौसम जो है अगले 9 अगस्त तक यानी 5 दिन अभी भी जो है मौसम विभाग ने येलो अलर्ट जारी किया है।
Switching tracks now, Indian markets experienced one of the worst falls today following the global bloodbath, with both the Nifty and the Sensex registering high losses during the opening trade. We're talking about Sensex trading below 80,000 and the rupee weakening to a record low. My colleague Sakshi has the details.
Weak US economic cues and the reaction by US investors fueling a global market sell-off. Now, what really was this weak economic data in particular? Well, worse than expected jobs data from the US really trickled in these fears, recession fears resurfacing, and US investors reacting to that data on Friday. We saw the sharp sell-off on Wall Street, followed by Asian markets plunging as much as 5% on Friday and extending that decline to as much as 7% today. We've seen India's Nifty and Sensex and benchmark indices at large also extend the declines witnessed on Friday. Both benchmark indices sliding over 2%. Broader markets also trading sharply lower. Investor wealth significantly eroded. Now, what happens when a sell-off like this happens? We also see the impact on currencies. Remember, the rupee also opened at its record low, weakened to a record low after US recession fears resurfaced. Now, asset classes like gold, also remember, gold is considered a safe haven in times of crisis, in uncertain times, and therefore we see an uptick in gold prices. So, of course, an impact on all asset classes as we see. We've seen equity markets plunge. We've seen currency also factoring in those recession concerns, and precious metals rise in trade in times of uncertainty.
Thank you so much, Sakshi, for getting us all those details. And it's been 5 years since the abrogation of Article 370, and this is the 5th anniversary. This is what took away Jammu and Kashmir's special status and statehood. The state was split into 2 union territories following its revocation. It is Jammu and Kashmir's unit of the BJP holding a rally to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Article 370's abrogation. Security also has been beefed up in the region as a precautionary measure. Opposition parties, including the Congress and the PDP, have criticised the BJP for organising a ceremony to celebrate the abrogation of Article 370.
I'm standing right now at Lal Chowk, and the Lal Chowk tells the story that it's open, traffic is normal, everything appears to be normal. But try the surface a bit, you would see the situation is not clearly black and white. Abrogation of Article 370 has disrupted the status quo. It has changed Jammu and Kashmir forever, divided into 2 union territories. Since then, there have been, differing views and the narrative. The government is saying it has transformed Jammu and Kashmir. It is changing things, giving employment, investment, development, and peace. A while back, in the morning, there was rain for half an hour or so. And it really, most of the roads in Srinagar, and they were inundated, there was water logging. So the least people could have expected the best drainage system. Thankfully, sun comes back, it is sunny again, and weather has improved, so traffic can move normally across Srinagar. But the larger point is, while BJP is today celebrating abrogation of Article 370, opposition parties are saying it is a dark day. Congress has said it is a dark day for Jammu and Kashmir because its statehood was smashed. So are the regional parties as well. Ladakh, we have seen this uneasy calm in Ladakh. For last several years, there have been, 4 years at least, there have been protests, hunger strikes demanding statehood and, 6th schedule, which gives them almost the same powers which they use, rights which they used to enjoy under Article 370 and 35A. In the valley, there's tourism boom. But in Jammu, it is terrorism. It is infiltration. And while the valley has been, Sri Kashmir Valley, counting tourists, and in Jammu, it is for last more than 1 year, at least for last 3 years, we see counting infiltration attempts and see. Here at Lal Chowk, it is the normal day, like any other day. The days of shutdown are gone. There's no stone pelting. But we see militancy has spread to the areas, particularly in Jammu region, which were completely free from militancy. So if you talk to the opposition, they will tell you how things have gone horribly wrong. And more importantly, Jammu and Kashmir is without elected representative. There's no democracy, has been in a suspended animation for last now more than 6 years. Last assembly elections were held in 2014. And now Election Commission is visiting Jammu and Kashmir this week. The ECI panel, headed by Chief Election Commissioner, are visiting from Thursday for 3 days to review the preparation for the assembly election with a long ordeal. So people are hoping that elections are held. The BJP has formed its election manifesto committee. So other parties, National Congress, they are already formed their election manifesto committee. They are seeking suggestions from the people. But this day has been, disruption in the status quo in many ways. There have been, improvements in certain areas, but there have been really horrible things that happen, particularly when it comes to the militancy front, that to the Jammu region, which is facing the brunt of worst type of militancy. So here at Lal Chowk, everything appears normal, but this is not the total picture of Jammu and Kashmir for the last 5 months.
Right, thank you so much, Nazir, for joining us with all those details. Moving on, the government is all set to bring a bill in the parliament to amend the 1995 law governing the Waqf boards to ensure more accountability and transparency in their functioning and mandatory inclusion of women in these bodies. They claim that the move comes in the backdrop of demands from within the Muslim community, according to sources. The bill to amend the Waqf Act 1995 will make it mandatory for the boards to register their properties with district collectors to ensure their actual valuation. There are 30 Waqf boards in the country. Let's just listen in to how Akhilesh Yadav is reacting to this. He said that his party will oppose the centre's move to curb the powers of the Waqf board, slamming the BJP, saying the party has no work except Hindu-Muslim or how to snatch the rights of Muslim brothers.
मुसलमान भाइयों को कैसे उनके अधिकारों को छीना जाए, उनकी अधिकार जो मिले हैं, जिन्हें आज़ादी के अधिकार हैं या उनके स्वतंत्र जो अधिकार हैं, उनके अपने धर्म को लेकर के अपनी कामकाज की व्यवस्था को बनाए रखने के लिए, और केवल वक्फ बोर्ड नहीं, हमारे मुख्यमंत्री देखिए कितने समझदार हैं सरकार के, उन्हें उर्दू में ये पता लगा कि नुज़ूल उर्दू शब्द है, उन्हें समझाते रहे अधिकारी कि नजूल का मतलब कुछ और है, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा नहीं, नजूल मतलब मुसलमानों की जमीन है ये.
Me as Pramod Tiwari, Rajya Sabha MP sir, the government has been planning to bring 40 amendments in the Waqf Code. How do you see that?
ये तो सिर्फ मीडिया में है. अगर उन्हें लाना है तो पहले जिस समुदाय के लिए ला रहे हैं उससे बात करें, फिर ये बात करें हम लोगों से, और हम लोगों से बात करने के पहले अपने सहयोगियों से पूछ लें जेडीयू का रुख क्या है, तेलुगु देशम का रुख क्या है, फिर बात.
Right, we also have my colleague Vasa joining us on the phone line. Vasa, we just heard Akhilesh Yadav or its people from the Congress party, basically the opposition there, saying that this is unnecessary interference.
Absolutely, Divya, and what I understand is that this bill is not going to be brought in today, but of course it could be brought in the coming days. Remember, the finance bill and the approval of the budget is something that is topmost on the government's mind. So clearly play is approval of the demand for grants for various sectors, including health, education. After that, of course, the budget gets approved on Wednesday, and Thursday is when we can expect this bill to come, is what sources are telling us. And of course, government has put forward this narrative saying that this bill will bring in broad-based democratic reforms, the kind of reforms that the JPC headed by Rahman Khan and also the Sachar committee talked about when it comes to properties. And they also say that this will also make it gender inclusive because it will make it mandatory for all Waqf boards to have at least 2 women. And it will also reduce the power of tribunals so that courts can also get into, the legislative judicial power pit, and people will not have to give up on their legal tangles with Waqf boards, and mainly to ensure that there is no sense of arbitrariness or, for that matter, randomness in the implementation of fact. The government is presenting this as a democratic move, a pro-common Muslim move, something that's progressive, something that is futuristic, and something that basically will ensure that common Muslims do not lose their rights when it comes to Waqf properties. But of course, opposition MPs have taken offense to this. I was speaking to Asaduddin Owaisi, who is seen as a prominent voice when it comes to Muslim matters, and he basically has said that 11 cases of misuse, something that the government has quoted, cannot be seen as a hallmark of the misuse of this act. And he has also said that the courts have been equipped to handle matters like this, and it is the job of judiciary. And this is one way that the government wants to control mosques, because it cannot really do away with the Places of Worship Act of 1991. So clearly this is going to be a clash of narratives, and we can expect the bill to come into the Parliament anytime soon this week.
Right. Thank you so much, Vasa, for getting us all those details. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. Back with a whole lot more. To stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Get ready for the ride of your life. NDTV brings you the NDTV Auto Show with me, Mugdha Mishra. From the fastest supercars to the sleekest new energy vehicles to your trusted daily ride, we cover it all. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7. Your next great escape starts here.
The biggest democratic exercise in the world. Team NDTV covers it from ground zero.
BJP really had to fight a tough election this time.
Unprecedented exercise. Unmatched coverage.
There is no dispute. जनता को decide करना है.
From polling to counting, NDTV brought you the most trustworthy news and updates. Elections mean NDTV.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत performance सही सारे दी थे बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual.
Welcome back. Let's get you the very latest that's coming in at the moment, and we're talking about Delhi High Court has in fact ordered a probe into the matter regarding the shelter home deaths. The High Court has ordered officials to visit the home and then submit a report. They have asked for that report to be submitted. They will be visiting the home tomorrow, and this is the High Court of Delhi that has asked the Jal Board also to test the water quality. This is after 14 people died just last month at that shelter home. We're talking about the deaths that took place at Asha Kiran, a Delhi government-run facility for the mentally challenged in the Rohini area. A staggering 28 inmates have died at that shelter home since the beginning of this year, with 14 deaths, including that of a child, taking place in July itself. We have my colleague Shreya Ghosh joining us. Shreya, has there been a deadline that's been set up by Delhi's High Court in regard to when is it that the officials who will be going and inspecting the area, how soon do they have to submit that report? So this is in regard to 28 deaths that have taken place at the Asha Kiran, a government-run facility for mentally challenged in the area of Rohini in the national capital. We're talking about 28 deaths that have taken place this year itself. But what's really shocking is 14 deaths that have been reported from that government-run facility for mentally challenged people in the national capital, where 14 deaths, including that of a child, have taken place in the month of July alone. So now the High Court here in the national capital has asked for the Jal Board to test the water quality and also to inspect the area and to submit a report regarding what led to the deaths of those 14 people who have died in a matter of 1 month. This also included a child. So a lot of questions being raised regarding that facility that was being provided for the mentally challenged in the national capital. This of course comes on the heels of the Delhi Minister Atishi, who had directed the Revenue Department to initiate a magisterial inquiry into the deaths and submit a report within 48 hours. So this comes under the Social Welfare Department, which has been without a minister following the resignation of Rajkumar Anand, who quit the Aam Aadmi Party in April and joined the BJP. So this is, from what we are hearing, is the High Court there asking for a probe, asking for officials to visit the area, to submit a report, take cognizance of the matter and to submit that report. It is also the Jal Board that has been involved in order to test the water there, the quality of the water there, and to determine as to what has really been the cause of those deaths that took place in the month of July. We're talking about 14 people who lost their lives, including a child. But overall, from the beginning of this year, 28 deaths have been reported. So we have my colleague Shreya joining us on the phone line. Shreya, is there a deadline that's been set up? When do the officials who will be visiting the area, how soon do they have to submit that report?
That's right. So Delhi High Court has directed the top officials to visit the shelter home in Rohini tomorrow, and they will have to submit the report. But there hasn't been any deadline given so far. Delhi High Court has also asked the Jal Board to test the water quality, because so many of these mentally challenged people who were living there in the shelter homes, they felt sick because of the water quality, because of the overcrowded shelter home. There were not enough staff to check the water and the food quality in this particular shelter home in Rohini. And of course, we know that there have been multiple deaths in just 20 days, the Asha Kiran facility that we're talking about. Right. The National Human Rights Commission has also recently taken suo motu cognizance about the deaths of these inmates in this government-run Asha Kiran facility.
Right. Thank you so much, Shreya, for getting us all those details. Switching tracks to Assam now, and the Chief Minister there, Himanta Biswa Sarma, has said that his government will bring a new law that would impose a life term on people found guilty of purported love jihad. While most BJP-ruled states have laws against such forced conversions, plans are on to make the provisions for punishment more stringent. So we have Assam's Chief Minister, who's gone on to say that he will now bring in a new law that would impose a lifetime on people found guilty of purportedly love jihad. So while we have BJP-ruled states who have laws against such forced conversions, but plans are on to make that provision for the punishment even more stringent.
Our government is in process of drafting a legislation which will give higher punishment for cases of love jihad. In Assam, this is rampant. People put their Hindu name in Facebook, lure a girl, and after marriage the girl discovered that the boy is not the same boy whom I married.
Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has made some very important announcements, saying that the state government will soon bring new legislation against what he claims is love jihad and land jihad. Now, explaining it, he elaborated, saying that the new legislation which is likely to be brought in the State Legislative Assembly in the ensuing monsoon session of the Assam Legislative Assembly later this month, and in this legislation he claims that there will be provision in the anti-love jihad legislation where there would be punishment which will amount to life imprisonment. Now explaining it, he goes on to say that there have been cases where people have withheld their religious identity in interfaith marriages, and that the state government feels should not be allowed, and therefore stringent legislation is going to be brought in. However, the main opposition party, the Congress, has criticized this move, saying that this is only a diversionary tactics of the state government. The state government doesn't want to speak about the key issues of inflation and the floods in the state. The state Congress chief had challenged the chief minister, asking that why is the chief minister not speaking on the promises made by the BJP in the 2021 Assam election vision document? Why is the BJP mum about it? That's what the Congress is now asking the chief minister. After the chief minister made this announcement, the chief minister also said that there is an observation by the state government that in many places indigenous communities are losing land, and therefore in areas like the Gwalpara district or the Borpeta or the likewise areas, there would be new legislation on land coming in where the state government would look into the interfaith land transfer, and the interfaith land transfer can't take place without the permission of the state government. The state government goes on to say, the chief minister goes on to say that he is not against voluntary land transfer between two people of two different faiths, but if there is a pressure being applied, or there is some force applied in terms of selling of the land or the land transfer, then the state government will intervene. So many would see both this new proposed legislation as controversial, but the state government says that they are doing this in the interest of the women, in the interest of the indigenous community. The state government is also going to amend the domicile policy, and the chief minister says that now on only those who are born in Assam will be eligible to apply for government jobs in Assam.
Right, thank you so much, Ratnadeep, for getting us all those details. Switching tracks now, at least 98 people were killed and hundreds injured in Bangladesh on Sunday as police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse tens of thousands, demanding the resignation of the Prime Minister. The violence marked one of the deadliest days in Bangladesh's recent history of civil unrest. Nearly 100 people were killed after thousands of Bangladeshi protesters demanding that resignation. This is in total about 300 people have died due to those protests that have taken place. This also included policemen. We have my colleague Ghazali joining us. Ghazali, we did see that these protests had died down in the middle, and yet they have been reignited all over again, in which 100 people, close to 100 people, have died in the last 24 hours alone.
See, right now, the Army Chief of Bangladesh has to address the nation, which is awaited in some time from now. The Bangladesh Army Chief is going to address the nation. Meanwhile, most highways or the national highways leading to Dhaka has been occupied by the student protesters, and they're also clashing not only with the security forces, with Chhatra League, a group or a student group of Awami League, the party which is ruling the country right now. But it also shows the kind of control Sheikh Hasina has right now in the country, because the army chief will have to address the nation, and everyone is waiting for that address, that what is the army chief going to say in that address to the nation right now. But more than 98 people have been killed, and several reports are emerging from Bangladesh that how students from different areas who are trying to reach Dhaka are facing security forces. Security forces are also firing in air, and around 20 people are injured even today since morning, and at multiple locations, those who are trying to reach Dhaka right now. So internet has been completely shut down in the entire country right now. So most of the news websites are also not opening. You can't access those news websites. And since yesterday, houses, residences of Awami League MPs, party offices of Awami League in 18 to 20 locations were vandalized. And today the situation is still tense, because today on August 5, the date was given to call for march to Dhaka. Students discrimination, the group which is spearheading this protest, have had asked all the protesters to join them for marching towards Dhaka, the national capital, and that is why security forces are there to block their access towards Dhaka, and all the national highways which are approached, which connects Dhaka to other cities, are blocked by the security forces, and large scale, you can say, clash between protesters and those aligned with the government and security forces are clashing with the anti-quota protesters. But It is very alarming that this situation is developing in India's neighborhood. Indians have also been advised not to go to Bangladesh, as well as those Indian nationals who are studying, working, or staying in Bangladesh have also been asked to stay in touch with the officials of the High Commission in Dhaka.
Right, these protests taking place as far as the reservation is concerned, the 30% quota is concerned, but that is something that was established back in 1972 and it was scrapped, but it was scrapped for only a very little amount of time back in 2018.
See, that quota thing came up in the Bangladesh Supreme Court. The Supreme Court curtailed it down or reduced the quota of 30% to even 5%, but yet the protesters think now their entire anti-quota protest or stir has now turned into anti-Sheikh Hasina movement. They want Sheikh Hasina to step down, and Sheikh Hasina or the government believes, and her statements has been a very provocative in terms of boiling down the protest. She has said that these are not protesters, these are not students, but these are terrorists, and they should be dealt with iron hand. Now, last week it appeared as if things are calming down, things were opening up in Bangladesh. But suddenly, Sheikh Hasina's statement yet again that these are, first she said that she is willing to negotiate with everyone. The protesters with their parents can come to her residence or Prime Minister's office to negotiate and discuss the issue. But after the protesters didn't approach that way, the protesters have been, the security forces have been dealing with them with iron hand. And yes, Sunday was saw more than 98 killings, one single day, maximum killings or deaths in Bangladesh since this protest has broken out for the last 2 months. And now, once Sheikh Hasina has been saying that she is willing to talk, but on the other hand, she is also saying that security forces will deal with the protesters and she'll be able to quell the protest or curb these protests, but that has not been successful so far. And today is the day of largest mobilization for Dhaka March or March to Dhaka, as it was called by one of the student groups called Student Against Discrimination. Now, since everyone is waiting for Army Chief to address the nation, and there are rumors that perhaps the Army Chief may announce a situation of emergency or impose emergency in the country. So all eyes are now on the Army Chief of Bangladesh, who is awaited to address the nation from some time from now.
Right, Ghazali, we also have Saurabh Gupta joining us. Saurabh, when we talk about, there is an indefinite